New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Good afternoon, and this is Gina, and welcome to the joy is in the journey. And you know, it is a beautiful day here in sunny Rhode Island. I am in Warwick, Rhode Island, and I'm a practitioner. For those that don't know me, I'm a practitioner as well as a licensed life coach. I've done speaking and workshops and trainings, and also a senior at the Holmes Institute. Very excited about that as well. I am here to share good news, and it's good news because you don't have to do anything to be the perfect one that you are. Let me be the first to say to you today that I love you, I appreciate you, and I know that God is for you, and so am I. So today's topic is going to be, it's all about self-esteem and self-love. I'm going to be going through the 12 commandments of how to love yourself by Louise Hay. And I can't think of anyone who taught self-care in a greater way than this amazing woman. She was truly ahead of her time in the self-care world, and is somebody that I absolutely, followed before I even found New Thought. It is, there's so much going on in life, and I would love to hear your feedback as we're going through everything. It's great to have you here. Hello, Wayne. Great to have you here. And anyone that has any comments, please feel free to add them on in. So today's topic, like I said, is self-esteem and self-care and all the selves. That's what I consider the three selves. I'm going to be reading out of different things today, but one of the things that I'd like to mention is what I consider the three most important selves, and that's out of my book, Your Journey to Happiness. I talk about self-esteem, self-care, and self-love, and they are all different things. And it's about going into that place of appreciating ourselves. And there's no arrogance in that, because if we can't care for ourselves, we certainly can't care for anyone else. And we're teaching our children and our grandchildren and anyone in our lives that they're not worthy of care either. Hello, Lisa. Wonderful to have you here with us. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So self-care is that fine line, especially if you're a parent. A lot of people, we are taught that, we're supposed to put other people first. That's not being humble. And then that's not necessarily even being caring if you're not caring for us, because we're giving from our source, not our overflow. So it's about appreciating who and whose we are. Each one is an individualized expression of divine. Each person is that perfect spark. There is nothing that you need to become to be love. You already are it. So knowing that you were created perfectly, knowing that you are this perfect expression, whether or not you're embodying it or feeling it in the moment, it's simply about changing our mindset. That's why I said it's good news, because it's changing your mind. It doesn't need to be about everything in our life. It's simply the perspective. If you couldn't see very well, you'd get glasses, and you put on those glasses and you see things differently. Suddenly, you have that perspective that you can see what's in front of you. sometimes we need to realign, whether it's with teachings or a class. It's realigning and getting to that place of self-appreciation. So I'm going to go through these different, our different 12 commandments to self-care, which I absolutely loved. And this is something that was in an article she had written many years ago. I don't necessarily think it was in a book, but there's 12 of them, and I'm going to go through them all with you one at a time. So the question she asked first was, do you love yourself? That was the title of the article. Do you love yourself? And how are you expressing that? So the first thing she asks is to stop all criticism. She says, criticism never changes a thing. If anything, it's making everything worse, because any changes we have from that place of negative thoughts comes out in a negative way. We're self-defeated before we even start. There's that feeling of, well, why bother? Or not feeling good enough or worthy enough to even try. It's learning how to accept yourself exactly as you are. There is nothing about you that is quote unquote bad, regardless of what people may think or have said, or the negative self-talk that may have been playing for years in your mind. If you wouldn't say this to your best friend, if you wouldn't say it to a child that you love, then we need to make sure that we're not saying it to ourselves. So it's so important that we learn how to speak to ourselves in a different way. So it's stopping all criticism and putting it in, reframing it. One of the things that I look at it as, it's getting to a point of witnessing rather than criticizing. So witnessing means simply looking at something I'm doing and saying, why am I doing it? Not in judgment, not in anger, not in frustration, but simply looking at it. For me, one of those things that I work on, and I is something that I work to get better at, is being late, for example. If I'm always at the last minute. That's one of those things that oftentimes I'm running to that last minute. And I look forward to getting better and better at it. I'm better than I was, but if I keep saying, oh, I'm terrible at it, I'm always late, it's just going to stay that way. So it's choosing to remember that that may have been in a moment, but that doesn't mean I don't have the ability to do other things. And looking at it and saying, okay, so what is that about? And one of the things that I've heard about being late is that it's some people do it because they're afraid that they're not going to get to everything. So that they're going to get somewhere early and there'll be downtime that they could have done something else in. Or just one more thing. So there's different ways of looking at that, but you can simply witness it and ask, what is this about? Am I not planning right? Is it something that I'm afraid to be alone and be in the quiet space for myself? So just kind of witnessing it. The second one is forgiving yourself. So forgive yourself. Now, let go of your past. You did the best you could with what you had. And that's something that many people have that hang up of should have, would have, could have, if only. And that's not true. That's just something that we've told ourselves, or our false expectations. How many times have we written a things to do list and it was 20, 30 items on it, that if all you had to do all day, every day was this list, it still wouldn't have gotten done. So we have those unrealistic expectations, and then when they don't happen, we get frustrated. So it's simply being aware. You know, it's about letting go and understanding and forgiving ourselves that I didn't know what I didn't know then, but I know now. Many of us have gone through relationships even that we blame ourselves for being with someone that we shouldn't have been, or anything like that. You couldn't have known then what you know now. You couldn't have, because you weren't you then. Everything we learn, every experience takes us to who we become. So I believe everything happens for a reason, but as we grow and change, it's because of what we've been through. So be understanding, just have the awareness about it. Oh, that's why that happened. Oh, that's what that looked like. And just be in that place of witnessing again. The next one is, don't scare yourself. Okay? Now, what does that mean? Don't scare yourself. Well, how many times do we think about the worst case scenario? We play it over again and again. Well, what will they think? Well, what did they think? Or if I do this, this is going to happen. Or I'm going to go in and I'm going to talk about, and we go through all of these conversations many times in our head from beginning to end when nothing actually happened. So we get the opportunity to say, okay, is what I'm thinking productive? Am I thinking in a way that is helping or hurting? Am I in this place of compassion with myself? Or am I terrorizing myself with my thoughts? In other words, am I, worried more than I have faith? Because fear and faith can't be in the same place at the same time. So if I am in that place of faith, for example, if I'm worried about my kids being late, if in that moment all I'm doing is thinking of all the scenarios that could have gone wrong, as opposed to what could have gone right, I get the choice to notice my thinking and shift it to something that's going to be more productive. I don't need to worry or constantly think about the things that make me negative. I get an opportunity to be in that place mindfully, just where I am. And the next one is to be gentle and kind and patient with myself. So what does it mean to be patient with myself? Sometimes it's learning new ways of thinking. Treat yourself like someone you really loved. Would you say it to your best friend? Would you treat them that way? I've heard people say horrible things about themselves. As a life coach, I've heard people defeat themselves before they even start. Or when I've met people and said what I did, they didn't feel worthy of somebody helping them. They didn't think they could get better. So there's so many ways that we can be, gentle and kind with ourselves. Sometimes our greatest mistakes end up being the best things that ever happened. I live in Rhode Island only because I had a business that failed. Well, that's how I ended up here, was in a business. And if I look back at that business, I may have learned a lot in it, but it was definitely not profitable. So most people would think, well, that's a mistake. A lot, I ended up in debt. There were things that it wasn't my best choice in the sense of profitability or worldly. But as far as growing personally and ending up in Rhode Island as a result of it, it was so worth it. I would have never met my husband. I wouldn't have had my family that I have. I wouldn't have the life that I have. I wouldn't have even necessarily found Centers for Spiritual Living because I live around the corner from where my center is. And it wasn't that way before, but all the people that pointed me this way were all in Rhode Island 12 years ago. So had I not, I may have never found this teaching. And now I'm on a ministerial path. So my whole life, from the man that I married to what I'm doing with it, would have been completely different had I not had that quote unquote mistake. So being gentle with ourselves, kind and patient, it's a gift that we give ourselves, or we can choose not to. But it is so important to be in a place of loving, kindness, patience. Just because I haven't done something yet doesn't mean I'm not going to, or that I can't, or even that I still want to. So there's a lot of layers to that. And when I'm in my, usually on the Peace Circle on Monday nights, I always play music because music makes me feel so much better. I actually have playlists for different moods because to me, it is that important that when I'm not thinking in an affirmative way, I want to choose differently. So it helps me to be able to swap into. So we've gone through a few of these things, and we are at this place of being gentle with myself. And I'm going to play the song because if that's one of your seeming issues, that it seems like you are hard on yourself, or you may not think it's a problem, but it's not necessarily supporting, I invite you to find music like the song by Karen Drucker that I'm going to play and just rest into it. Allow yourself to be gentle with yourself. So for the next few minutes, I invite you to just close your eyes and allow the love of the music to be with you, to just be in this moment, thinking only kind thoughts of you. And not being judgments if something else comes out, no judgment of those. It's simply allowing it to be. Practice receiving the love in the song.
I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a baby child. the slowest part of me feels safe to go. Now I know I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself, and I hold myself like a newborn baby child. I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself, and I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I rock myself like a newborn baby child. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I love myself like a newborn baby child.
So it's loving ourselves like a newborn baby child. It's understanding that it's our job to take care of ourselves to the best of our ability. And it's something that we have a responsibility to the people that we love to care for ourselves, because we want them to take care of themselves, but we're teaching them, we're showing them. Not only are we teaching them how to take care of themselves, but we're also teaching what we'll stand for. So if I'm not kind to myself with my words, perhaps we're saying that they can be unkind with theirs, that they can say things, or there's no boundaries around how I'm treated. If I don't like how people treat me, I have to look at, where is my self-esteem? What would make them possibly think to treat me that way, that was okay? And I don't say that in judgment, because there's many times in my life that I wondered why people weren't there for me, or why I wondered how people treated me a certain way. And when I really went back and looked at my relationship, I had shown them I didn't need help. I never asked for help. There was no expectation of that. Everyone just expected that I would be okay because I helped everyone else. And I had set that up. I had created that one-way relationship, and then I wondered why it was only one way. So it's simply witnessing, and when something doesn't work, I get to change it. And that's the important part. So the next one is being kind to your mind. Okay, so be kind to your mind. And what does that mean? Get rid of any of the negatives, the self-hatred, or, upsetting thoughts about yourself. It's gently changing our thoughts. And I know that sounds easier said than done. Meditation for me took a long time to really begin, because I didn't know how to do that. I would immediately go to one thing and the next thing, and if I actually could turn it off, I'm like, oh, I'll fall asleep. I can't do that. So it's amazing. Over the years, I've been able to still my mind in a completely different way. And it's still not always easy. But being kind to our mind is simply allowing whatever thought comes in, witness it, and let it go. I think of it almost like the clouds in the sky on a beautiful day when you just see them floating by. Sometimes it takes a while for them to go by, but I can just let them fly by. I don't have to comment. I don't have to force anything. I can simply acknowledge it, wonder why it's there or not, and just let it go. That's what I get to do. So everything is a choice, including my thoughts. Now, the next one is to praise yourself. And not in an arrogant way. It's not to say this in a way that's, that it's not about better than, but certainly not worse than either. Praise is just being mindful of what you're good at and expecting that acknowledgement if you've done something not just right, but if you do something kind for someone, let someone say thank you. If someone says, you look great, it's not being self-deprecating and saying, oh, no, this old thing. It's simply saying thank you. It's appreciating it. Let yourself know that you're doing a great job. You're doing the best that you can, a little at a time. Self-criticism or criticism of any kind breaks down that inner spirit. It takes away joy. And some of us have allowed that to happen for years, again and again, in so many different forms. So it's simply being in a place of appreciating, I'm doing better. I'm doing the best that I can. Acknowledging it, loving who you are. And that may take some time, but it's taking away the negatives out of it, not allowing anything but the praise. And not in a better than. We're not in competition with anybody. Two pieces of a puzzle, one isn't more important than the other. I don't care where it is in the puzzle. They're not more important. They're just different. Each one is made that way. None are the same color, shape, size. They're supposed to be different, but they're all just as necessary. So it's being mindful of that and allowing it and really finding your peace with your peace. Because when you are in that place of appreciating who you are, exactly where you are, amazing things happen. Remember, there is spirit in you as you is walking through this day. Would you really say those things to spirit? I truly believe that God in me as me is me. That it is that divine spark that gives me breath and takes the breath, as well as is the breath. So knowing that, every negative word that I say, spirit's within me. Spirit is in this place. So what am I really saying? So when I praise, look at it as praising spirit as you. Really be in that place of building yourself up and allowing yourself to get better. To say, yes, I've been working on this, and thank you is the answer. When someone gives you a compliment, just simply say, thank you. Receive. There are a lot of people that wonder why the flow of good doesn't come to them in abundant ways, but they can't even accept a simple compliment. If someone says, can I help you with that? And you're like, no, I have it. Simply receive the compliment. Receive the help and assistance in whatever it may be. Everything we're receiving is that flow, is that divine flow in action. And that is what and where spirit is. So be in that flow. Now, the next one is to support yourself. Find ways to have that support in your life. Now, that might be through friends, allowing them to help you. It may be in counseling. It might be you have a practitioner that you're working with. You could have a life coach. Whatever it is that you have, it's being in that place of having a support system for yourself, including yourself. It's being in there with that positive talk and being in there in that loving space, and affirm the truth of who you are. Asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. Remember that. Suffering is in silence. Things will happen in life, and it's about walking through them, and some are easier than others. But if we stay in the silence of it, when we hide like it's a secret, that pain stays there. It gets stuck there. And that's where dis-ease comes in. So it's really being mindful of the fact of having that support around me for what do I need. If I'm not feeling myself, I can call someone. I can say, this is what I need. I can reach out and let someone know, so I don't have to be or stay in that negative space. So being strong enough to ask for help is a wonderful thing. And reaching out to spirit and praying affirmatively, all of these things are how we support ourselves. The next one, and this can be a tricky one, be loving to your negatives. Acknowledge that you created them to fulfill a need. There was something that fulfilled, or you wouldn't have it. Whether it was being late, or whether it is, for me, food was that avenue. Everybody has their thing, but excess food was my thing. That was the tool that I used to get through life. There was a lot of stuff that happened, and that was what I would tend towards. Some people use alcohol and drugs. Some people use anger and resentment. Some people isolate. There's a lot of different ways that people go through life. But understand that these are all just tools. People are doing the best they can, as are you. You're doing the best you can. So look at them, witness them, not in judgment. You know, we only can do what we know to the level of our ability, the level of our knowledge at that time. You know, there's a lot of things that happen in childhood sometimes, and people can get very frustrated and angry or resentful. But even our parents did the best they could with the knowledge that they had. And the more that we can release that old stuff, it takes away the pain. So it's loving even the things that didn't serve me. It's how I got through life. One of the things that I used to use a lot is sarcasm, because I was raised to be a good girl, so I wouldn't insult you straight on, but sarcasm was the way that I got away with it. And then I heard a saying at this point, you know, over a dozen, I'd say about 15 years ago, at least probably 20. Say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. Say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. And that blew sarcasm out of the water. See, sarcasm is just another way of hurting someone's feelings. I don't have that right. I don't have the right to hurt anyone, just like I don't want them to hurt me. So being sarcastic about it is just a passive-aggressive way. It's a wimpier way of saying things that can be hurtful. So it's being mindful that at the time, that's how I got by. It's how I got by being the quote-unquote good girl that didn't know how to stand up for herself or didn't know she could have boundaries. It was the tool that I used to be able to be who I was at the time. But now I know differently, and I can choose differently, and I can find more positive ways to say how I'm feeling. So if I'm hurt or I'm upset or I'm feeling unheard, I have the vocabulary in a different way. I can give myself validation, and I don't necessarily need it from somebody else. I'm different, therefore I can act and react differently. So looking at those seeming negatives can tell me a lot about myself. And the gift of learning about ourselves is that we get the choice to do things differently so they can be more productive. Not so we can judge ourselves and say that I was bad, because there is no bad or good. It's just, what would I choose? I choose to show up as love today. And if I know that, and that's my choice, then sarcasm is not the way. So it's doing what I can to be present in this moment and mindful of it, and not judging myself when something comes out, but simply saying, sorry, I didn't mean it that way, and letting it go. I don't have to stew over it. I don't have to pretend I didn't do or say something. I can just simply say, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant to be. I didn't mean to upset you. Or, if this came out wrong, I'm sorry. And I'll tell you, I'm still one of those people that doesn't necessarily like to say I'm sorry. So it's made me a lot more mindful of what I say and do, because I want to keep my side straight, because I feel better when I do. And it's not in judgment. It's just that I feel better. So the next one is taking care of our body. That's the next aspect of self-care is taking care of this beautiful vessel that we've been given. Everybody is different. We have, like I said in that, to have peace, we have to have peace with our peace. In this mosaic of life, we're all meant to be different. We have different color hair, eyes, skin. We have different height. I'd have loved, I'm all of 5'1". I would have loved to be at least 5'5", 5'6", but no, that wasn't my way. So it's just the way that it is. Now I can be upset about it, or I can acknowledge that, it's okay. This is where I am. So it's being mindful about my body and being loving to the skin I'm in. This vessel heals itself. If I get, whether it's a burn or a paper cut or anything else, it heals itself when I allow it to. I can love and nurture myself with the food that I eat and how I take care of myself. It's everything from having those annual exams and, making sure that I get enough sleep at night. That's taking care of this vessel, this beautiful gift that I was given. And I only get one. One of the things that I do for me, for my whole life, I've been, my experience has been extremely overweight. And I have lost hundreds of pounds at different times. And there's been a lot of self-judgment in that at times. It's not about shoulding or woulding. It's just, this is what my experience had been. Doesn't mean it's staying at that. It just had been that. And there was a lot of judgment in that. And, my vessel loved me no matter what. My vessel healed no matter what. This skin that I am in, I have put through so much, and it loved and nurtured me even then. So when I put lotion on in the morning, I put lotion on it and I say thank you. As I rub it in, I say thank you for loving and nourishing me when I didn't, for you. When I didn't pay attention, when I wasn't kind to it. I get to be kind and loving to my vessel now. And that's all that matters. Just for today, am I eating the way that's best for me? Am I sleeping enough? Am I taking care of myself? Am I saying the right things? Am I thinking the right things? And by right, I mean positive. Is it making things better or worse? That's how you know. Are my thoughts making me feel better and empowered or not? And that's up to us to do. Taking care of this vessel, it's the one that you get. So now what? And now what do I do with that? How do I love and nurture it and keep it as healthy as I choose it to be? And it's really being mindful a day at a time and being in this place and just loving ourselves. The next one is to do mirror work. And that is one thing that Louise Hay always, really had something that she talked about a lot. And mirror work is looking into your own eyes, as often as you can, and having that sense of love for yourself. It's forgiving yourself, really forgiving yourself for the things that you didn't know. It's honoring yourself and knowing that, yes, I am enough. I do enough. I am enough. right as I am, right now. It's not in destination happiness when I get to this point. It is, I love myself right as I am. And part of mirror work too, I mean, affirmations are what I consider, the biggest part of mirror work is in loving myself. And I have this list of affirmations. And if anybody would like a copy of that, I'm going to give my email address, and you are welcome to ask me, and I will send you my list of affirmations. I have done it in workshops. I've given it out for years, because these are just some of them, and I'm going to read them to you. The first one is, I love you. I love you very much, and there's a blank, so you put your name in there. So I would say, I love you, Gina. And I forgive, love, and accept myself right now. Look in a mirror and say that. I forgive, love, and accept myself right now. I deserve the best of everything. And looking in your own eyes and truly saying that, I deserve the best of everything. I lovingly release all of my past and appreciate the knowledge that it has given me. I live in the now, and miracles happen in my life every day. I am a beacon of hope to others, and my life has no limits. All of my relationships and interactions are harmonious and loving. I am enough. I do enough. I have all that I need right now. That's an important one. I am enough. I do enough. And I have all that I need right now. Spirit is within me. I cannot fail. I listen, trust, and take guided action. So some of these, every person is different. My body restores itself to perfect health every day. It's a matter of finding ones that work for you. But those affirmations, that mirror work, can help me to love myself and place myself in that place of healing, really healing. Because everything is a call for love. So any judgment, any negative word, any negative thought that I have is a call for love. And resentments are just poison. They're just keeping me from my joy. So she also suggests that you look in your eyes every day and say, I love you. I really, really love you. And if you can say your name, all the better. Say your own name, look in your own eyes and say, I love you. I really, really love you. Many people start these practices and they end up in tears. They can't even get the words out. And they had no idea there was so much pain within them. So if you'd like my list of affirmations, I can send it to you. Email me, gina@believein.you.today.com, and I can send you out that list. I can also send you a copy of the article if you'd like as well. But know that this is, these are things that Louise Hay talks about, and they're so important. Because the more we care for ourselves, the more we can be that example and be putting that positive into the world. The next one is to love yourself, to do it now. Not when you've lost weight, not when you have money in the bank, not when you have that relationship, not when you retire, not calming down when you get on your vacation. It's beginning now. It's really loving yourself just as you are, knowing that you are worthy of that divine love, of all there is right now. Not destination happiness, like I call it. Well, when this happens, then. Well, when I've lost weight. I can't tell you how many people have told me, well, I have nothing to wear. Well, why don't you? Well, I put on a few pounds, especially this past year. Everybody's been home, and many people did put on some weight, and they don't want to buy anything new because they want to get back into their old stuff. But if you're not feeling good about yourself now, how are you going to improve you? You are worthy exactly as you are to feel good about yourself. So do that. Whatever it is you need to go get yourself a few outfits. Take care of yourself. Love yourself right where you are. You're worthy right now. It's not about when you get someplace. And the final one of Louise Hay's is to have fun. Smile, laugh, rejoice. Like when you were a child, that kind of joy. Be where you are. Let yourself play in the puddles of life. When it rains, play in the puddles. No matter where you are, don't take it too seriously. You do the best that you can, and then you move on from there. And I say that in a loving way. But it's not that things aren't important. Of course they are. And it's not that we don't have problems or stuff that comes up, but it's how we deal with them that makes all the difference. They can deplete, or they can just be something we walk through. When I allow my faith to carry me through any seeming problem, I'm not depleted. When I try to do it my own way, things don't go well. So when I say, Spirit, take this from me, and I do the next right thing, amazing things happen. But when I try to rush in and do it my way, I can be like a bull in a china closet. Nothing good happens there. When I try to fix things, especially as a parent of adult children, when I try to fix things, it doesn't go well. It's what is mine to do? I have to pause and ask, what is mine to do? What is mine to say? I need to make sure that I take care of me first, so I'm giving from my overflow, and I'm giving my best. I'm not resenting. I'm not angry. I'm not wondering why I'm doing more than somebody else. If I'm choosing to, if you choose to, people will let you do as much work as you want. But if in the end you're resentful, be mindful that, did you create it? That's happened to me many a time. So I get to choose and look at things and say, okay, now what? If I don't like how I'm feeling, it's up to me to change how I'm feeling, not up to other people to act differently. See, I created whatever it was that happened. I helped co-create that. And if the answer is now white, I can't expect them to change just because I don't like this anymore. I'm different. They're not necessarily different. So I look at it and say, okay, what do I do from here? Because that's what life is. It's co-creating at its best, and sometimes the seeming worst. So we're going through and doing the next right thing. And taking care of ourselves is the most important part of that process. So I'm the best me moving forward. I've been adding the practice of, in the middle of my day, doing a 20-minute meditation and trying to take at least one other time through the day, to just take 5 minutes in stillness and quietness and just breathe. Now, these are things that I believe in wholeheartedly, but really getting into the practice of them consistently has over the years been a challenge for me. I am someone that has that attention span that's all over the place. On the way to the bathroom, I can find 5 things that need to take my attention. Or just let me finish this before I get there. And then by the time I'm getting there, I'm doing a little dance trying to get there. So it's not being distracted from what matters most. It's having fun with myself when I am, and not getting upset with myself and saying, oh, I did it again. It's simply just laughing and saying, okay, next time, just go, come back. It'll be there waiting when I get back. life is this dance that we are with spirit. And I wanted to read to you from what I believe is, I do believe this is the best self-help book I've ever read by far. You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. She is amazing. You know, she was a practitioner in New Thought, and she actually was also a minister. She did a ton of work with, early in the AIDS movement, and she taught so many people how to love themselves again when what other people said was unkind, that they didn't have to internalize that and take it in. So this book is, to me, just absolutely amazing. And in a chapter that says, what is the problem? And under the heading of loving the self. No matter what their problem seems to be, there's only one thing I ever work with anyone, and this is loving the self. Love is the miracle cure. Loving ourselves works miracles in our lives. I'm not talking about vanity or arrogance or being stuck up, for that is not love. It is only fear. I'm talking about having a great respect for ourselves and a gratitude for the miracle of our bodies and our minds. Love, to me, is appreciation to such a degree that it fills my heart to bursting and overflows. Love can go in any direction. I can feel love for, and she has a list, the very process of life itself, the joy of being alive, the beauty that I see, another person, knowledge, the process of the mind, our bodies and the way that they work, animals, birds, fish, vegetation in all forms, the universe and the way that it works. So when I'm giving love to these things, in appreciation, when I am in gratitude, I am in joy. Love goes in many forms. So it's so important that we expect to be treated well. People will treat us as well as we expect them to. And if you are someone that's been walked on or felt unseen, it's because maybe you didn't see yourself, or you didn't expect to be seen or want to. How many people do I know that wear black all the time because they don't want to, they don't want bold colors because they don't feel thin enough, or they don't want to be seen. Or you ask them to take a picture and they're like, no. And I'm not going to tell you, I haven't done that. I've hidden from cameras for years. It took me years to get to a point of being comfortable enough in my own skin to be on YouTube. I've had a channel for a decade and haven't done much with it because I was waiting for that destination. I didn't feel like enough because my weight was higher than I wanted it to be. I look back at that now, especially as someone who's spent 30 years helping people to care for themselves. And I think of the injustice I did to myself. And I don't think of it in judgment. I think of it in a way of, I didn't even see it happening. I didn't even recognize the injustice I was doing to myself. So it's being mindful that I don't have to stay there when I do recognize it. I don't have to change everything all at once, but I get to make things better. I get to change. And the last thing I want to share with you is a poem that I wrote actually yesterday, and it falls in perfectly. And it's, I am love. Love is expressing as me now. Joy is the optimism that I feel for this day. Peace is the stillness and steadfastness within me. Harmony is the symphony I hear in nature, from the birds and the dogs to the winds and the trees. Wisdom is the divine connection inspiring these words. Beauty is the kind thoughts and prayers of compassion I have and share with others. Life is demonstrated in each and every breath. Power is in my abilities to both do or be still and know. Infinite potential is my choice. For what will I call forth today? Sacred is the gratitude I have for knowing that all that God is, I am. So all that Spirit is, you are. And I know that without a doubt. And as we go through this topic today, my prayer for you is that you know that too. That you work on that self-talk, that it be kind and loving, knowing that we are all simply doing the best we can with what we have. It's letting ourselves off the hook and simply allowing. My book, Your Journey to Happiness, is take your worries, it says, trade your worries and regret for your happily ever after. And it is going through 10 steps on your path of joy. And I encourage you to think about something like this, where it can take you through your own personal journey on this path to what is your joy, because that's what you deserve. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to see yourself and be proud of what you see in the mirror. It has nothing to do with what it is that you're doing. It's because of who you are. Ask anyone that loves you and they can tell you all about it. So I love you, and I'm grateful that you're here with me today. If there's any comments or anything at all, I would love for you to join me. You can see me on, also you can look me up on Facebook or on YouTube, and that there's links on Facebook. You can look me up, it's Gina Colvario Krupka, or you can send me an email and I can send you these affirmations. Please know that the universe is for you, and that there is good news here at New Thought Media Network. We are here to uplift in any and every way. So I am so grateful to this network for having that good news. And there are old episodes of this show and other shows. Know that that's what we're here for. So please take a look, go back on our YouTube and take a look at it. And if there's something that you've heard here that has helped you, go to ntmedia.org and make a donation, circulate that good. Whether it's a one-time donation or a monthly, we are here because of people like you. It gives us the opportunity to put this good news out there in the world. So I encourage you to make a donation, or at least let people know about us. If there's a topic, if there's somebody that you know and you love and you would love for them to care for themselves a little more, send them to the link to this episode. Let them know that there is good news, and this network is definitely the place to find it. So I encourage you through this week to find more ways to care for you. Know that I love you, and that Spirit is as you, magnificent, exactly as you are. So be in that place of knowing, of expecting more and more good, more and more joy. Allow it in. You deserve it, without a doubt. I'm also here on Monday nights with Peace Circle, and that's at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Would love for you to join me then. There's so much good news on this network. It's amazing. So really be in the flow and take a look and watch the different shows. There's prayer at 8:15 a.m. and p.m. with our prayer team, Eastern Time, 10:15 on the East Coast where I am. Central Time is the 8:15. Eastern Time is 10:15. So we're here for affirmative prayer. We have so much good news. Stay in the good. Stay in the flow. Be that love you wish to see in the world. So I thank you. I thank you for being here with me. And I wish you the love, the joy, the happy journey that you absolutely deserve. Blessings and love. Namaste.